Congratulations, you've made it through Session 1, through Session 2. Now you're getting ready to dive into Session 3. And I want to just take a moment to thank you for being diligent about following this program exactly as it is laid out. You wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't working the program. I have found in doing this over the years online that there are three types of parents that are in learning mode. There is the quick fix parent, and this occurs about 2% of the time, approximately. The quick fix parent downloads a hard copy of the ebook, skims through it in about 1 hour, doesn't find any magic bullets, and tosses it aside and said, well, none of this works. I've tried all that before, and then they hop on to some other parenting program. Then about 8% of the time, there is what I call the partially invested parent. And this is the parent that really wants to work the program, but they have so many time constraints that it makes it very difficult. They'll get online and they'll do maybe a couple pages, and then something comes up and they get distracted, and a few weeks go by, or even a few months, and then the child has another meltdown, and then the parent goes, whoops, I better get back online and get back with that program, and they kind of half-ass the program, quite honestly. But the other 90% of people that join online parent support are the fully invested parent, and that would be you. You wouldn't be watching this video if you were just trying to get a quick fix. I want to take a moment to thank you for doing that. You're an invested parent, and there's going to be huge dividends for you as a result. Now, in Session 2 assignments, the first thing to do is to continue Session 1 assignments. This is where you're going to ask your child at least one question each day that is going to be difficult for her to answer in just one word. You're also going to say each evening, I love you, daughter, or I love you, son, and you're going to eat dinner together at least once a week. Now, I know that that's the simple stuff. The second thing that I want you to do in Session 2 assignments is give your child a heads up that there's going to be 2 new changes. You're going to be using the art of saying yes, and you're going to be using the art of saying no. But I want you to fill them in on what's going on here in a very particular way. So when you're giving your child a heads up about the art of saying yes, simply say, I want to try compromising this week. Now, just between you and I, what's really going on here is when your child wants something from you, he's going to have to earn it. But don't say that. Don't say, hey, from now on, when you want something from me, you're going to have to earn it. Instead, simply say, I want to try compromising this week. And if you need some clarification about that, feel free to go ahead and give it to him. You can even use some examples right out of the art of saying yes. You're also going to give him a heads up about the art of saying no. And how you're going to do that is you're simply going to say, the other change is I'm not going to argue with you anymore. Now, again, between you and I, what's really going on here is when you say no, you're going to stick with no. But don't say that. Don't say, okay, the other change from now on is when I say no, no means no, so don't argue with me. That's not how we want to approach this. When we fill your child in on the art of saying no, you're simply going to say, the other change is I'm not going to argue with you anymore. It doesn't matter how they respond. They could say, yeah, right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. The third thing in Session 2 assignments is you need to pay close attention to your child's guilt trips, because they're going to have to earn their stuff. When you say no, no means no, and you're going to issue a discipline if they ignore the no. So if discipline has been kind of difficult for you, and if you've been a little bit on the soft side, you may start feeling sorry for your child when you issue a 3-day discipline, for example, or insist that he do a mandatory chore. So as your child, and I say as, not if, as your child tries to guilt trip you, catch yourself and go, I don't want to slip back into overindulgence again. And so you just move on. Okay? So, number 3, pay close attention to your child's guilt trips. Number 4, catch yourself feeling sorry for your child. And remind yourself that that could influence you to revert back to old parenting styles. The 5th thing to do, use the art of saying yes whenever your answer is yes. The 6th thing to do is use the art of saying no whenever your answer is no. The 7th thing to do is give your child at least one mandatory chore per day. If you want to give him the weekend off, that's fine. The eighth thing to do is consider paying money for discipline. And I've given an example below in the text. I won't go through it now. You just check that out and see if that's something that you think might work for you. And then the ninth thing you do, I want you to either catch your child in the act of doing something right or catch him in the act of not doing something wrong. I don't care how big of a pain in the butt your child has been. He's doing at least something right each day. Now, we as parents have made the mistake of when things are going fine to kind of ignore that. But now what we want to do when things are going fine, when there's no misbehavior going on, for example, that's when we want to provide the intensity when things are going right. So if, for example, your child always drops his backpack full of books right in the front door, so that when other people come in, they trip over it, and then you notice that this time he scooted it over a few feet, and now people are not tripping over his book bag. There's an opportunity to turn up the intensity and go, you know what? I noticed that you moved your book bag over out of the way. Now everybody can walk through without tripping over it. That's you being respectful. Thank you. That was your acknowledgement and praise, which is your providing intensity when things are going right. Have you ever been to SeaWorld or AquaWorld or any of these amusement parks where they have dolphins and killer whales and all of this? You know how they train dolphins to jump over the rope? The trainers put the rope at the very bottom of the pool, and so all the dolphin has to do is swim from one side of the pool to the other side of the pool, and then the trainers give him a fish. And then the dolphin realizes something about swimming over this rope, I get a fish. But the dolphin couldn't help but swim over the rope. All he had to do is go from one side to the other. So then the trainers raise the rope up to water's level. The dolphin jumps over the rope. They give him a fish. Then the trainers raise that rope up 15 feet, 25 feet, 50 feet high above the water. The dolphin still jumps over the rope because he knows he's going to get a fish. So you may wonder, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? But when we catch our child in the act of doing something right, or catch him in the act of not doing something wrong, we are lowering the bar. We're setting him up for success in a way that there's no way that he can fail. If you put the rope at the bottom of the pool, there's no way for the dolphin to not swim over it. Now, I hope that makes sense. What we want to do is we want to, and this is the nurturing piece here, we want to start providing intensity when things are going right. And we want to shut down the intensity when things are going wrong. So if the house is quiet and people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, be sure to capture the moment. Accuse them of being successful. You can simply say, hey, I noticed that you're doing this without me having to tell you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Or I noticed that you're not picking on your sister. That's you being respectful. I really appreciate that. Just little things, okay?